AT&T was hacked or potentially hacked. In this video, we're covering everything you need to know, what details are out there, what you can do to protect yourself if this is related to the T-Mobile hack, and more. This story today comes from HackRead, reporting that AT&T was hacked. Dennis, what are the details of this story? What information could be out there? What do we need to know?
Yeah, so notorious hacker Shiny Hunters claims to have gained access to AT&T's database and have access to personal data of more than 70 million AT&T customers. Shiny Hunters is currently auctioning the information off on the marketplace Raid Forums, which is also known from other hacks, with a starting bid of $200,000. Information that's being claimed to have been collected includes full names, addresses, zip codes, date of birth, email addresses, and social security numbers.
Wow, that's a lot of information. Dennis, we've talked about it before. What do people need to do in the event that this is a legitimate data breach? How can they keep themselves protected and mitigate risks?
Yes, I mean, I just want to say really quickly, take what's going on with a heavy pinch of salt, because this information is coming based off of a hacker, and as we saw with the previously from T-Mobile, there were some discrepancies where the hacker claimed to have access to 100 million, which was essentially the vast majority of T-Mobile customers, when in reality it was only like 40 million.
Still a huge hack, very alarming, but to your point, the claim of the hack was very different from the actual data breach.
Right. But with that being said, I think the T-Mobile hack should be the alarm bell that gets everybody going, and these are things that you guys should be doing to protect yourselves. I highly recommend that you freeze your credit with all the 3 credit bureaus to protect yourself. I would also encourage updating your password with AT&T. And making sure that the password that you use is different from other passwords. I know it's a very easy, common thing to do to try to use the same password across multiple sites, but that is a terrible thing to do. I know I like to personally take the human out of the equation and use a password manager to make my passwords, and I would probably extend that same recommendation on to you guys. Outside of that as well, in the comments of the last video when we talked about the T-Mobile hack, I saw many people talking about how they use things like Apple Pay where they were using a virtual card, and there's actually a service out there from privacy.com that also allows you to make virtual cards. And what's extra beautiful is you can actually set individual limits on these different virtual cards, so if the information does get hacked, you don't have to worry about them like racking up some huge balance on you.
Yeah, privacy.com, really great service, worth looking into. We'll leave that linked below. We're also part of the 1Password partner program, so if you're interested in getting a password manager, Dennis, I know you use 1Password. It helps keep your password safe and secure, so we'll leave that link down below as well. If you're interested in learning more, of course, you're welcome to use whatever password manager you prefer at this point. But yeah, so anything else people can do besides, freezing their credit, changing their passwords, things like that to help keep them safe and secure?
Yeah. If you were part of any of the vulnerabilities or any known vulnerabilities, calling your card company to update them card and put them on alert would probably be the move as well. As well as, I've personally went the extra step in actually getting a monitoring service. I personally use Discover Cards, so they sell it for like $15, and it allows me to keep track of things like my driver's license, like my social, like my date of birth, and other information such as that. Although, Stetson, I know you actually found a very useful article that AT&T has, and it sounds like certain customers might have access to this kind of service already.
Yeah, so this is actually a great step from AT&T, way better than T-Mobile. I mean, we were talking about it. T-Mobile is offering 2 years of McAfee, and we're not a big fan of the service. With AT&T, okay, they are including for free with all postpaid AT&T plans, AT&T Mobile Security. Now, the unlimited starter and extra plans have Mobile Security Basic. So this does include breach reports, and it'll send you an email and app alerts when a company, app, or service you may use or follow experiences a data breach, and you'll also get practical advice. And this is looking for things like personal info and financial info. However, with the Mobile Security Plus, which is included on the Elite plan, you're getting that extra step of protection, identity monitoring checks for your personal info on websites and more, and they'll send you that alert if they find your info being bought or sold on the dark web, which it sounds like would be a qualifying situation like this. And your personal info that they're looking out for: email, phone numbers, driver's license, passport, medical insurance numbers, and more. So if you're an AT&T subscriber, consider making sure you're using and taking advantage of these free monitoring features that are included with your plan. And maybe it's time to consider upgrading to Elite if you were on the fence before.
Yeah, outside of that, though, I think it's worth talking about, these breaches that have been happening. Specifically, if it does end up being found out that this is true and the hackers are taking advantage of the same exploit that was used to hack into T-Mobile, it's going to be really concerning, because if that's the case, then it means that it's an industry-wide exploit that could also affect other companies, such as Verizon being the next on the chopping block, or even extending out into other ISP related companies like a Comcast or a Spectrum. So it's really important that you guys are taking the measures now, even if we do end up finding out this isn't necessarily the case, to harden your security to mitigate any potential damages that would happen should a hacking event occur, because it's not going away. Breaches are going to continue to happen, and I think it happening to T-Mobile again this time around is really just what set the alarms.
Yeah, and this isn't like, it's not confirmed yet. So AT&T has not confirmed whether or not the breach is legitimate at this point, and there is so far no connection between the AT&T and T-Mobile breaches. We're just trying to keep you guys safe as possible, providing these tips and recommendations to help keep your information and your privacy safe and secure. Dennis, what do you think the probability is right now that this is a legitimate hack, that this information that's going out there is real? It's as real as the T-Mobile hack was.
I give it a 50-50 shot, but I'm taking it with a heavy pinch of salt. But anytime there's even a whiff of danger, if there's smoke, there's fire, so they say, right? So I am on extra high alert for my personal self, considering I'm a T-Mobile customer and was affected by this. So as a fellow AT&T customer as well, I am on extra high alert, not for necessarily myself, but in this case for my father, since he's the account holder on the AT&T account.
Right.
So
right.
I'm staying on high alert. But that being said, it's coming from hackers, right? It's not like they're the most trustworthy people in the world. And for all we know, based off the information being leaked, this information could have been coming from some older hack, and they could have just tied it into AT&T.
Yeah,
or something.
Other sources. Absolutely. I mean, the information is somewhat generic in regards where you can collect an aggregate of people's first names, addresses, zip codes, and say it's from AT&T. And maybe people will kind of have a higher percentage or higher likelihood of believing you, given the recent T-Mobile hack. And Dennis, as you mentioned, it's possible that, with T-Mobile being hacked, maybe people are more likely to believe that AT&T could have been hacked if the breach was similar, or the vulnerability they found was similar between the two networks. But I do want to bring up a tweet. This is from Brian Krebs, and Brian is a independent investigative journalist covering cybercrime, security, privacy, and more. And his tweet says, there have been a number of tweets today about a claimed breach of 70 million records from AT&T. After reviewing what's been posted so far, AT&T said, quote, based on our investigation today, the information that appeared in an internet chat room does not appear to have come from our systems. So at the current moment, it appears that the information that the hacker is trying to auction is not from AT&T. So it could be kind of a spoof to some degree. But of course, AT&T will likely release a official statement coming soon, and will conduct further investigations into this to see what information may have been leaked out, if any information was leaked out, and then appropriate steps going forward.
Yeah, but that being said, people that are listening to this, please don't panic. But this should go out to all customers, AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon, regardless. I think this is a good opportunity, like I said, to really just focus on reevaluating your security to make sure you're staying safe. Have two-factor authentication enabled on your accounts. Update your passwords. Freeze your credits. Do what you can, so that way, if this turns out to be true, or maybe sometime down the line something like this repeats itself, as history usually does, you have taken the measures to reduce reduce the impact of any consequences that could have from such an
Absolutely.
event.
We'll leave helpful links and resources in the video description below, including more information about AT&T's free services that they're including with their plans. Either way, Dennis, anything else you want to mention for this?
Yeah, with that being said, please, guys, feel free to share this so that others can see this important information. That way they're aware of what's going on. Make sure also to like the video and to subscribe with the bell notification, because we will be posting regular updates when we hear out more news as far as this goes. So I want to make sure everyone is aware and keeping themselves safe. And I appreciate everybody for checking in, and I hope you all well.
All right. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.